How's it going, everyone? My name is Nate. I'm a knife maker here in Colorado, and I'm going to be talking about SB25-003 and why this affects all of us. So, this is basically a rundown of the video. Regardless if you're watching this on my business YouTube or this one, this is me stopping the complaining on news article posts that I halfway read. This is actually a bill that I've been paying attention to pretty much from the start of it, and it's what's getting me involved in my state's um, bills and things going on in it, because I will live by this saying that we only cherish our rights when they are being slightly chipped away. Okay, so hear me out on this. Don't just think, oh, here's another white dude, right wing conservative. Listen to at least what I have to say about the Second Amendment. Okay. But here's just what I'm going to do in this video. I'm not going to take too much of your time. I welcome the conversation and the comments, and that is, I'm going to do a little intro, talk about the Second Amendment. I'm going to talk about the snapshot of this bill, what it is, what it will do, and what this is tailored to. All these gun restriction bills have to do with protecting kids at school or just in public, for madmen, committing heinous evil acts. Okay, but this bill will not protect them. Okay, and I'll talk about that. I'm going to talk about initially with that is why this bill will not work, and then lastly, a call to action the right way. So, with that being said, the Second Amendment, I don't care if you're a Democrat, I don't care if you're a Republican, a conservative, a liberal, communist, socialist, maybe, but if you're an American born here, or you're obtaining legal citizenship here, this amendment is just as much for you as it is me, regardless of what you look like. Okay, this is maybe a subject for a different time, but I just want to make something clear here. Okay, I thought it was amazing watching and listening to the hearings of so many Democrats in our state of Colorado stand up and say they are against this bill for really good reasons. There's a lot of them that are for it. The writers are, but there's tons of them. We need more. We need to stand together on this. Okay, and we'll talk more about that. Call to action at the end here. But I don't care what you look like. Another thing here, ending on the Second Amendment. If you did not know this, just to give kind of a really different political swap here. It wasn't too long ago where Republicans were arming Black Americans to help them defend themselves against radical racist Democrats at one point in time, not too long ago. Okay, so this is to protect us from that, from overstepping government, from not just being able to defend ourselves in our homes, but it is tailored to protect ourselves from the government. Okay, that is what it is for. I didn't make the rules here, but continuing on, and I'm not saying that's what's happening, but I'm just telling you that's what it is for, and it is just for me as it is for you. Going on here, snapshot of this bill. Basically, it's going to ban about 80% of the firearms or more that we have here in the state as Coloradoans. Okay, they say, oh well, if you already have them, your grandfathered in. I don't believe that, because every 2 years this is changing, and the line is being drawn here, and then we just gonna draw it just right here. And with this bill, I'm gonna say this: if you were to write infringement right here, and this is below, this is up, this is going way past it, there is a pencil line right above infringement with this bill. Okay, they are making those cuts to infringe. This bill is exactly that, including the other ones with ammunition, that you're going to be taxed to obtain ammo, and there is no there. Where will the line stop? Okay, and that should concern you, regardless of where you stand politically. With that being said, the biggest thing about this bill is they also want to implement firearms that don't really exist. They want non-detachable magazines. I know, being someone that's pretty versed in firearms, when you have malfunctions, especially in a pistol, and you don't have a detachable magazine, there's some malfunctions that you may not be able to clear unless you get it to a gunsmith. Essentially, you have a live round halfway stuck between a spent casing that didn't go, talking about a double feed, It's just dangerous, man. I'm not going to go into it because I don't want to take too much time. It's just dangerous. It's dumb. And then the biggest thing is that your constitutional right is going to be a state-paid privilege, meaning that you have to pay the state every step of the way for you to obtain a card that says you're a good person, we think, so you can purchase a firearm. And look, they want training and stuff like that. That doesn't prevent anybody. I have trained people on the basics, and one of my biggest fears is, what if that person turns around and uses it for nefarious actions? Is that on me? No, it's not. But their whole thing is, and this is quote, we want to make sure someone knows how to pull the trigger before they pull the trigger. That doesn't make any sense. It's on the person, regardless of what the object is used, okay? Anyways, but that is the most unconstitutional thing. And by the way, the FOID card in Illinois, a federal judge has ruled that is unconstitutional, and there's legal actions being taken against that right now. So that's a snapshot. I want to stop school shootings too, and here's an idea. Instead of putting more pressure and strain on our county sheriffs and CPW, which will also affect our parks and our mountains and all the stuff we love to do in the outdoors, because they're going to be tied up trying to build a pipeline for people to go through that's going to probably take years to build and then years to actually get you through because there's not enough manpower and resources. Why don't we expand the county sheriff's budget to train and open the doors for more SRT and SWAT team members? And then they can rotate in and out of schools, and you just put a nice little posted sign out there in their yard that says protected by county blank SWAT. And then they rotate out like every 2 weeks to a month into other details, and somebody else rotates in. Why not? We have armed protection for banks. We have armed protection for money transfer, jewelry stores, cell phone stores, shopping centers, grocery stores, celebrities, but we question that's a good idea for our kids. Come on now. Why this bill is not going to work, okay? Again, criminals don't follow laws. The firearms they want to implement don't really exist, and they're dangerous. But going back to where criminals don't follow laws, if they did, we wouldn't have the shootings and stuff we do in this state. Even if they bought it legally and then they went and committed a crime, that's still a criminal. Not saying people just had a bad day and they snapped. That does happen. I'm talking about the people that are in nefarious lifestyles, okay? And guess what? They usually don't buy their firearms in a store. They buy it from the black market, and guess what? If somebody wanted to do something nefarious and they go to the black market and they say, hey, let me buy that 50 cal from you. Okay, $20,000. Here's the cash. There you go. The guy selling it that's a criminal is not going to be like, I got to question you real quick here. Why do you want to bear it 50 cal? Okay? It's not going to stop crime. It's not going to prevent gun violence. It's not going to prevent any of that. It's punishing law-abiding Coloradoans, Americans, on the acts of evil people. And that's not right or fair. Lastly, there's a call to action here. Call to action is this. I'm going to repeat this 3 times. I am not calling for violence. I am not calling for violence. I am not calling for violence. What I am calling you to do is start getting involved at your local town halls, your school boards, your local governments, and getting your face and your voice known, and start I don't want to even say allying because that's a war term, but start working with like-minded individuals, not just on the Second Amendment, but just in general. The biggest thing is, Democrats, don't be offended by this, but conservatives, stop moving out of the freaking state. Stop running, okay? You're not going to help the situation. Help stand your ground here, okay? People say, oh, there's no point because of this, that, and the other thing. This is America, man. There's so many things that people said in the past that can never happen, and it's happened. If we stand together as a people, they will listen. They will have to listen. So your biggest thing you can do is this, starting on the state level. Start calling Governor Polis every single week and tell him you do not agree with this. Do not let this sit on your desk and it passes automatically. Be at least a man enough to say yes or no to it. But please do not say yes to this bill. Do not infringe on our constitutional Second Amendment rights. Tell them they need to redo this. They need to, or just throw it out in general. Just veto it. Start calling people in Washington, D.C. Start getting a hold of your district representatives. Hound them. They are people that work for us. It is not the other way around. They swore an oath to the Constitution. Well, the Constitution is a little bit more appealing and for us than it is them. I hate to say it because, listen, I'm gonna end with this. Okay, I've already done my call to action, and if we can work together, awesome. I will gladly say we can rewrite the Second Amendment when political corruption on both sides of the aisle and law enforcement corruption and military corruption ceases to desist. Said that like, super, I don't know. I think I've said that pretty clear though. When that doesn't exist anymore, we can rewrite the Constitution. God bless.